On this episode, we add some engine bolt-ons to our awesome truck, Garfield, and the dang thing breathes fire! We're gonna get these manifolds on. I'm gonna pop the spark plug wires off and then pull the plugs out just to have those clear so that we're not bumping spark plugs. And Aaron's gonna chop off this exhaust because we don't have much of it left, so there's no need in saving it at this point. I can't wait to see headers on her. On your fresh new upper control arm paint. We threw our spark plugs back in there and some towels in those exhaust ports so that no junk gets inside our engine. Let's get the head surface cleaned up for those headers. You know who we need to get over here is Uncle Wayne. If you remember when we went and picked this truck up in Iowa, Uncle Wayne drove us and he was so funny. He would freak out seeing Garfield right now. Oh my goodness. All disassembled. Gotta get him over here and let him wrench on Garfield a little bit. Bet he'd like that. Well, as I was looking at that, the clutch linkage had the potential of being in the way, but the clearance was great. Went right in. It's time for more progress on Garfield. We're gonna pop the distributor out, get our new intake on, and our new carb. Aaron is currently got one drive shaft out, he's pulling the second one, and then he's gonna pull the transmission. Come on, silicone, let loose. Ugh. Ugh. There we go. I wonder if it was a crate motor.
I think it was.
They just dropped like a newer Vortec.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm curious about is these heads don't have any castings on the end. There's nothing, just smooth. And I'm wondering if that's an aftermarket head. Truck runs like crazy good.
Remember when we were picking it up when we were in Iowa and we pulled this oil cap off and looked down and the rocker still had writing on it.
And
we're like, wow, it looks like new.
Like, it's a big truck. If it had a stock 350, I can't see it running like it has because this thing will like smoke the tires. It's crazy. It might be because of those heads. We know it's got a little camshaft in it because it's got a choppy to it. Somebody spent a lot of
Man,
time and money on this
I
truck.
wish we could know what. So the guy that we bought it from, Jim, in Ohio, he had bought it from a lady and her husband. They had lived in California and they moved to Iowa, I guess only like 4 or 5 years prior to her husband passing away, and then she sold his truck to Jim.
I'm so curious, since there's not a casting on these heads, somebody's probably going to comment and say I'm just stupid, but I'm going to pull this valve cover off and see if it's an aftermarket head. We may get lucky and there might be a brand stamped on it somewhere.
Gaskets.
It says GM right there.
All the rockers have writing on them still, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like somebody did a freshen up or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely overspray on this head.
Yep. Oh yeah. There is our beautiful, good old classic 4150 Holley carburetor. It's a good old 650 CFM electric choke, vacuum secondary, everything we need to get Garfield's good old 350 running like a dream. Yeah. When we were at Summit, we also grabbed this fuel line, which we'll need, and a good old Mr. Gasket fuel pressure gauge. I'm pretty excited. I wiped down these valve covers with some PP plaster. Aaron suggested that. It worked pretty dang good. Of course, they've still got some like little deep rust spots, but man, they're not bad at all. They look pretty spiffied up. We just painted our old water neck and it's drying so that it looks spiffy. And we'll get that on there. Man, it'll be time to pop the distributor back in. Y'all, this looks good. Time to remove this steering box, you guys. We have a brand new spiffy one from LMC we're gonna pop on here. So I just pulled out the cotter pin, realized I wasn't filming. And now I'm gonna pop this castle nut off and then use that good old snake's tooth to pop that joint loose. And
Snakes
then
don't have teeth.
snake's tongue. Snake's tongue. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Y'all would have known what I was talking about, but then you would have had a fun time in the comment section. Picking on me? Not really. Okay, I'm gonna get to work and stop talking. Snakes don't have teeth. Alright, should be free.
There it is.
Boom, shaka
Wow.
laka laka. It's wore out. That's scrap metal. I bet we can buy me an ice cream with that.
Maybe so.
And voila, it's all beautiful and, well, maybe not beautiful, but it's painted. This looks spiffy. A nice unit. Garfield's gonna steer like she's new, like he's new.
It was pretty good before. There was just a lot of slop in the steering wheel, but it still went real straight.
Okay, I think she's tight. It's been a really, really good day. It's about midnight now, and Aaron and I got a bunch of the brake lines out from the stainless steel kit that we got from LMC, and we figured out where each of them goes on the truck. And it looks like we're gonna have to pull the headers back down to get the brake line up underneath the engine. So we're gonna wait until tomorrow until we're fresh to start back on that project. So we'll see y'all in the morning. Good morning. It's about 9 a.m. We've got plans today, y'all. We have ordered the shocks. RideTech wanted us to get our bags where we wanted them, our upper and lower bars, and then measure from the upper and lower brackets, upper and lower, really good, shock mount brackets, and send them those measurements. So we got that done, and so now we're gonna move up to the front of the truck. We're gonna put the distributor back in, put some fresh spark plugs in her, see if we can crank it up. So I had installed the starter, and while we have the transmission off and the flywheel right here, we wanted to be sure that we didn't need to shim it at all. So we pulled out our instructions to be sure that we had the tolerances in our head, and it's pretty cute. This starter is from Mr. Gasket, and so we were reading the instructions, and Aaron was like, Mr. Gasket is awesome. Because they're telling you all the clearances, and then they're like, this can be checked with a wire gauge, and then in parentheses it says, a standard size paper clip will work fine. How awesome is that? So that's like some old school small block Chevy guy stuff, I think. In my mind it is like, well, you just clearance that old starter with a paper clip. And so it tells us our clearances that it needs to be 40 thousandths, give or take 15 thousandths. So we got our mic just to be sure that we had the proper clearance with looking at the thickness of our paper clip here. And it's right at 40 thousandths. How cool is that? So they also want an 1/8 inch between the starter gear and the flywheel gear. So we've got that going on. I'm gonna go from mark to mark there. Okay. Come on, baby. All right, now this is where the paper clip comes in. So we're measuring where the gear, the inside of the gear hits the top of the tip of the gear from the flywheel. So that's where our paper clip goes, right there. Sweet, it's nice and snug too. You can go in and out easily, but there's not a lot of wiggle room. Cool. Let's pop this valve cover off. We got to get this puppy set at top dead center so that we can stab that distributor back in. Alrighty, Aaron's at the back of the engine to turn it over for us. And we're going to watch the intake and exhaust valves on #1 cylinder here. We got to get it at top dead center. We're going to know that by the intake valve. It does its stroke. It goes all the way down and then it comes back up. We're watching for the mark on our home run balancer. We've got to get that little mark to the 0 tick, and I'll show you a detail shot on that. So this is a really, really fun thing to do. So I'm going to put my finger in the spark plug hole and feel for that compression stroke, because that's going to signify that that piston is coming all the way up at top dead center. All right, intake, exhaust valve is going down, and coming back up. So the intake valve should be moving soon. There it goes down, going down. Ooh. Feeling that pressure. Okay, I've got pressure compression right now.
Okay, so watch for that mark.
Yep. Okay, oh dang, we're super close right now. Just go back just a hair and we'll be on it.
Okay.
Oh, well, that was too much. Tiny bit more. Oh, yep.
Too
back
much?
just a little. I mean, back just a skosh.
Can't control these guns.
Oh, did too much. I mean, okay, do those little tiny hits. Okay, and stop. Boom. We're there.
Cool.
Time to pop this bad boy on. Oh, there she goes.
Okay, now
So
we're
it's
back.
okay that our button isn't still pointing at number 1 cylinder.
Yeah, because the
That just rotates as
the distributor was in the cam.
The cam gear rotates.
But to verify it, we're just going to turn it back to 0, make sure it's pointing.
Couple of goober heads. But you know, these 2 goober heads will be jumping in this truck in like less than 3 weeks and driving across the country. So you too, being a total amateur goober head, can build something and drive it across the country. You don't have to be a professional and know all the answers and do everything right the first time.
Nope, sure don't. Engine's grounded.
Cool.
Let's see if the starter will do what it's supposed to.
Hitting it. I love seeing that happen. Do it again. That's so cool. Okay.
Should have fuel in a minute.
I see the fuel gauge start.
Okay.
It's jumping.
Let's see if that battery will actually set the battery on this crate. I'm concerned about it falling off
Okay.
the frames.
Oh, there it is.
We have fuel. Crazy, it's holding fuel pressure. Okay, ignition on.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
Gotta get back.
I'm so scared of that fan. Yeah.
Should be.
Woo! Fire. Garfield coughed up a fireball. That was awesome. Okay.
Let's try things.
Move out of this way of the fan.
Clear?
Clear.
Oh yeah. You can hear that cam a little
Babe!
bit.
Garfield!
Sweet.
Dang, Garfield sounds freaking good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know open headers is ridiculous, but...
Potato, 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 potato. That reminds me, I want lunch.
Finley, don't you love it? Were you standing there the whole time, bud?
Go, let's go get a clutch
Oh my gosh.
and a sandwich.
Yay, bud! You're friends! It ran before, but it's always a good feeling when you hit the key on something and it cranks. All right, you've seen all the work that this episode can handle. We'll see you guys on the next one.